All right. Now in this lecture, we will learn how to integrate Jenkins with GitHub. Okay. So for example, any GitHub events like a push event, for example, we merged to the master branch. We open a PR, for example, the GitHub pull request. All of that will be handled in this lecture and we will learn in details. Okay. So the first thing I have in Musab Ziyadni DevSecOps, this file or this repo, which is DevSecOps, and inside it I have file.sh, which is this one. All right. Well, actually, this is a simple example. You can put your own code here, Flask, for example, Django, PHP, Node.js, whatever. Okay. But this is just a simple, as you can see, this is hello, this is version 1. All right. So we will learn how to handle that, how to open PR for this, and depend on this events or these PRs, we will trigger jobs inside Jenkins. Okay. All right. Now let's go to Jenkins. From here, let's create a new item or new job. Let's name it test job. Okay. Or test, whatever. Let's put freestyle project and okay. Put the description you want. Now here we have the GitHub project. Now this is very important actually. Now I will go there. I will put the link of the repo, which is like this. All right. So if I paste it here, I see that github.com, Musab Ziyadni is the name of the user, and DevSecOps, which is the name of the repo. Okay. So this is the GitHub project, the project URL. Now scroll down until you reach this thing, which is the source code management, the Git. Now I will get it from here. So HTTPS. And I will go here and put it here. But remember that this is a public repositories. By the way, maybe I will delete it after this lecture. It's okay. So it's just arbitrary. So nothing important here actually. Anyway, so this is a public, so we can use HTTPS without any credential. So if I provide it here, I don't need to provide any credential. But for example, if it is private and you need to provide username and password, you can just add them from here like this at Jenkins, and you can choose a username with password and provide the username and password. Or if it is using the SSH from here, as you can see, if you type or put the SSH, you can provide the username and the private key you will see that you have in your GitHub account. All right, now we don't have any advanced thing, anything, okay, and we have this branch, which is the master branch. All right, so far so good. Now let's scroll until we reach this thing, which is the GitHub hook trigger for Git SCM polling. So this means that any trigger or any hook comes from the GitHub account, from this repo to this Jenkins, it will be trigger this job, okay, which is the test job. All right. So for now, let's scroll down. Yeah, actually, if it is scrolled, let's execute this shell, and this shell will run bash the file.sh, and inside it will be the echo command. Okay, so file.sh. Okay, so you can see that is very simple, no big deal actually. All right, now let's save. Okay, now you may ask me, but yeah, if you notice before that, if you noticed, we have a GitHub here. If you click on it, you can see it will go to the direct page, which is the direct page of the repo. Okay, now you may ask me, but I know, yeah, we know that we trigger this, which is the build trigger, GitHub hook trigger for Git SCM polling. But how actually it will reach Jenkins? Because this is a private, right? Because this is a private instance or private server. How it will reach it? And the other question you may ask me, how to configure that actually? Because we didn't do anything here. Is it that they know this is for me? No, actually, they will not know. So the first thing, let's start with how it will reach this. Okay, from the settings of this repo, you will see that we have a settings. And if you scroll down, you can see that we have a webhooks from here. So from here, you can add a hook or a webhook. So from here, you need to provide the URL for the Jenkins server, okay, which is this one, okay. And then depends on it, you can choose it is JSON or application URL encoded, and put the secret if you want. And here you can see, yeah, if it is just the push event or send me everything or let me select, and from here you can see there are a lot of things actually. Okay, but for now I will put send me everything and choose it as active, and let's add it. But you may ask me, but this is a private. Yeah, actually, now this is the other side of the question. Now, how to do this to be or to act as something public, but at the same time, we need it to be private? Well, actually, there are a lot of solutions. Like we can create a forwarder instance, for example, and this forwarder instance have Nginx inside it, and it will proxy everything that coming from the GitHub inside, or it will proxy it to the jenkins.devsecopscourse.com, okay, which is the Jenkins server. This is the first solution. And the second solution, actually, there are other solutions, but the second solution is we can create a load balancer, actually, which is from here. So from the EC2 console, you can see that we have the load balancers here, and we actually, this is what we're gonna do. Okay, so let's create a load balancer, and yeah, as you can see, there are a lot of things, but we will use the classic load balancer because it is almost free and it will do the job. So the load balancer, it will be used dash for dash Jenkins dash GitHub. Yeah, I know the name is very long, but it's okay. So it is documented well. Or let's see here. Yeah, used, actually, not user. Okay, used for Jenkins GitHub. And the VPC will be the DevSecOps that we created. And here you can see that we can enable it as a internal load balancer or external, but we need it as an HTTPS like this. And the instance protocol is HTTP, which is the port 80. So here let's add the subnets. Let's put anything. Now here let's add the subnets, and I will add the private subnet, which is the one that Jenkins inside it. And here we will add the subnets, and I will use the public subnet, of course, because it is a public. After all, we need it to be a public. Then let's click on next, and here this is the security group. In my case, I will use the Jenkins, or actually it's better is to create a new security group. So let's create this load dash balancer dash sg. Okay, so I copy that and let's put it like this: load balancer security group. All right, now it will accept the port, the HTTPS actually from everywhere, and it will accept, yeah, it will accept the HTTPS from everywhere. Okay, so click on next. Here, if you here to provide the ACM, so actually we can use the ACM. Now this is if we used or if we choose it to be HTTPS. So if we go here, actually, and put HTTP, so in our case, if I go again, yeah, let's return here, put it only allow the HTTP from everywhere. Let's go next. We don't have any. Now this is the ping, which is the HTTP, the port 80, and it will be on this page. But actually, if you open Jenkins like that, you can see that by default, yeah, if I logged out, you can see that by default it will go to this link. As you can see, login from something. So it's better to put it like this. So let's put it like this, yeah, slash login from whatever. All right, so keep that unhealthy 5, healthy just 2, so you can get healthy immediately. So let's add the instances we want, which is the Jenkins we have. Now click on next, review and create. Now let's create the load balancer, and let's check if it is working correctly. Let's wait a little bit until it is available. Now, if I go to the health check or to the instances, you can see that it is still out of service. Let's wait a little bit. So you can see instance registration is still in progress. Okay, now if you can see that instance hasn't passed the configured healthy threshold number of health checks consequence. So what is the problem? Well, actually, I didn't remove that. So let's investigate why is that. The first thing, we need to go to the security group here. So you can see that the load balancer accept the outbound, yeah, of course, to anywhere, but the inbound accept only from anywhere, which is the port 8 on port 80. This is for the load balancer, which is something good. So we can accept the connection from the GitHub as well. But for Jenkins, you can see that it allows the port 80 only from the VPN server. So from here, actually, I need to allow the port HTTP or the port 80 from the load balancer. Okay, from the load balancer security group. Okay, so this is the first important thing. Now let's save that, and let's check again. Now let's return back to the load balancer. Maybe this is the issue. Maybe this was the problem. Okay, now let's scroll this a little bit up. Let's refresh. Now let's remove it from the load balancer and edit and add it again. Actually, this will make it faster. So yeah, save. Now instance registration is still in progress. Let's wait a little bit and see if that worked. Yeah, so far so good. You can see that it is now in service. So which means that we have it connected. So, well, actually this was a very good exercise to do. And you can see that by editing the security group, and you can see that even though you know what you are doing, you still make mistakes or you forget something. So it's okay. The most important thing is to investigate step by step and make sure that you are running correctly and do not panic. This is the first and the most important thing. Do not panic at all. Okay. All right. Now we have the load balancer and you can see that it is public and this is the domain name. So if I copy and paste it here, actually, you can see that it will show us, or it will go to the main page. And this is something actually public. So even though if I disconnect from the VPN and I refresh that, if I type like this, you can see that server is running 100%. And even though I am not private, as you can see, I am not connected to the VPN. So this means that this is a public. All right. Now we need to add this URL. So let's connect, and we need to add this URL here on the GitHub. And don't forget to put the HTTPS or HTTP, sorry, which is something like this. Let's make sure that it is correctly. Yeah. So HTTP like this. It is JSON. Send me everything, and let's add the webhook. Now let's make sure it is correct. It's working correctly. Yeah. If I click here and I type update and I click here, you can see that we will get this something, which is something called the error 403 no valid crump was included in the request. Okay, well, at least we got a response, which means that GitHub can now communicate with the Jenkins. All right, so far so good. I need to provide this URL, which is, as you can see, GitHub webhook. And as you can see, here is a slash and here is a slash. Okay, now let's update and check out if this worked or not. So after I update it, I need to re-deliver it again to see if this working or not. All right, so far so good. Now you can see that now the response is 200, which means it is okay. So we received the trigger correctly.